Well, good evening, everyone. Hey, Linda Anderson here, Linda Lou Creates, and thanks for joining me. You are going to hear some thunder in the background. I'm hoping that everything stays working. and so, yeah, fingers crossed that nothing happens with the electricity. So anyway, tonight I wanted to share with you the cards that I created for my In Color Club this month, and also show some bonus ideas. These are the bonus ideas. So, yeah, you guessed it. Starry Sky is the color, and the stamp set that I featured in the tutorial for the club cards is the Lighthouse point. So it's the stamp set and these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful dies. I adore these dies. So anyway, this is what's been featured. Last week I shared a couple cards using the dots and spots die that you can get for free with a qualifying purchase during celebration or while supplies last. So I wanted to kind of follow up with that because I kind of hinted at some ideas that I had, and these are those ideas. So okay, let's get started. I want to share with you this one, and then after this after I do the cards, then how about if I share with you the projects then from the In Color Club. Yeah. So let me just get some scrap paper here. I just cut out this. I just cut this basic white 5x6. Ran the dots and spots through it, using this as a stencil in order to then ink blend through that to get my background. So I have here my Starry Sky card base. I have now all the pieces and parts. There's lots of them. Sweet Sorbet, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. That makes then the basic white for the background to be 3 3/4 by 5. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and adhere my stencil over top of this and just sort of eyeball where it's going to be somewhat centered with these dots. And then I have some Post-it tape that I want to use. You can use like removable tape or washi tape. I just happen to have this Post-it tape here, so I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that down. So I have essentially the good side or the right side of my white card base or layer here is attached down, or is adhered down. You know what? I don't like the way that's kind of bubbling up there, so I'm just going to go ahead and make sure it's nice and flat. So I am going to use, now what's nice with this tape is it does remove nicely without tearing your project. You do have to be careful, of course, but also then it's reusable because of that. So all right, I better move stuff out of the way. Otherwise, I'm going to get some ink all over everything. So, all right, blending brush. You know I love to blend. I have my Starry Sky ink pad. So now all I'm going to do is load it up and get to ink blending. And I thought of it too late. I wish I had gotten a envelope and put the stencil, it's not too late, but put the stencil over the flap of the envelope and then decorated up my envelope that way. So that's something then that I'm like, I should do that also. So I could do that with both of these cards. So now notice I'm going in a circular motion. And the other thing that I like to do is take a little bit of the excess off. With this, I don't think it matters so much if I have some sort of blobs of darker spots, but I do try and I'm in the habit of doing it. So I think that's another reason why I do it. But going in a circular motion, but going both directions. That way I'm assured that the ink is getting down in there, and that I will have, especially when you have very intricate stencils or whatever that you're blending, that's to go in both directions. You're really making sure you're having even coverage. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. So let me just cover that up. And I know me, let me wipe my fingers off because I know I'm bound to have ink on them and I don't want to ruin my project. At least not at the very beginning here. So, all right, so here we go. What I like to refer to as the ta-da moment. So this is when you get that chance to take off the tape, take off the stencil, and see your creation. Ta-da! So see, I didn't get really great coverage up here. I mean, it's not even, but I am definitely okay with that. So here we go. Let me pull this out. There, so yeah, that's why I like that Post-it tape, because you can pull it and it comes off most times very, very cleanly without it causing any problems with tearing of your cardstock. All right, so this piece I'm going to go ahead and adhere down to my Sweet Sorbet layer, 1/8 of an inch bigger on that one. So anyone else having rain tonight or threats of it? I don't think it has started raining yet, but boy, it's been thundering a lot. So it rained and thundered and lightning a lot last night, and I'll be honest with you, I absolutely hate thunderstorms, especially at night. So yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night. So all right, let's go ahead and get this down to the card base. Then I can get going on some of the dies and what have you. I did want to do some stamping before I did this, and I seem to have not followed exactly what I wanted to do. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll just sort of do our best. Balmy Blue. From the stamp set, let me pull it back out. There are some of these landscaping pieces here. So I am using this as a cloud, and this turned the opposite direction is going to be my sand. So, you know, you use it as you like. So here, and the only thing is though, I don't want it to be dark. So I am going to stamp it off. So here we go. This is Balmy Blue that I'm using. So I'm going to stamp it off on my scrap paper. I'm also going to use my scrap paper to kind of help me not stamp exactly where I don't want to stamp. So this is the cloud, so we'll give them one here. And looks like we're going to have multiple clouds there since I dropped it. Let me just leave it alone, Linda. Leave it alone, right? And I'm going to get another one. Go ahead and stamp it off. And that one will go right here. Okay, there are the clouds. So I can see about covering some of that up with my Lighthouse, but right now we're okay. Now I'm going to switch off to Crumb Cake for my sand or my ground. And like I said, I'm going to flip it so the sort of the sand, the hill of it is upwards. So let me just cover some of this right here. Okay. And I'm actually going to put a second one then. So let's go up a little bit higher. All right. kind of looks a little weird right now, but wait until we get everything put together. So here are the pieces of the lighthouse. There's lots of them, but wait till you see what we're going to do. So the solid one is out of Sweet Sorbet. The lined one is basic white. So let me go ahead and adhere these two together. I'm sure, I have no doubt that you would be able to trim the tops off of these different things and what have you, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. Just line this up, and it looks very cool right as it is. So I love anything nautical. So this was one of the first stamp sets that I got out of the new catalog when it came out. As soon as I saw this, I knew that was going to be mine. So I have the top. It's a separate die in and of itself, and also then the railing. So I put on the back an adhesive sheet of my Starry Sky and then ran the die through it. So I am going to start first. Let me bring this back in so you can kind of see what I'm building here. So I'm going to take off that liner paper. I want to make sure I take off the windows and this little strip. I honestly don't know what this is, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do instead. So now I just have the top of the lighthouse. So let's just go ahead and line that up. Now I don't want, I could, red coming through the window. So instead I'm like, I want yellow. So I've done it different ways. I've just cut a piece or die cut this out, just cut a piece of yellow, the Daffodil Delight, and adhered behind the windows. Or you can do this. Again, I have an adhesive sheet behind here. So, and I just use that top piece, the one that cut the blue out here. I cut it again out of the Daffodil Delight. No, I don't need the whole thing, but I'm just going to play here with a bit of paper piecing, so to speak. Get the windows in there. It's nice with having the adhesive already on. And then this little strip, I kind of wanted that as well. And we'll fit that right in here also. Do you hear that rumbling? Boy, it is. So there, now my lighthouse has light coming through it. The railing, I don't want the little squares here. I just want the railing. So here we go on that. Boy, that was lucky, all of it coming off. And I'm just going to adhere this. Now what I do with this is the spokes or the railings here, I like to just have them kind of go through the center of the windows of the lighthouse. And the fact that that adhesive sheet is there, it's going to adhere down nicely. And there is my lighthouse. Lots of fun colors in that one. So let's go ahead and get this put down to the card base. Put on some dimensionals. You know I was going to put dimensionals on, right? And only 6. I know people laugh at me, only. So anyway, let's get those going. Okay, so let me kind of see where I want to put this in hopes of kind of hiding some of my boo-boos here. Okay, how about right here? I'm having it down. I still have some of my ground, so to speak, showing through my sand, have it over the clouds. Love it, love it. Now, the dies that I used again from the Lighthouse stamp set, I used Starry Sky, and this is Crumb Cake. Stamped in Starry Sky, the So Much Thanks. I am going to put it across, across the lighthouse like this. So where it is over the lighthouse will not have any dimensionals, but I have the dimensionals on the side where it's going to overhang. So I could probably even put one here just to make sure, but I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be okay. So I don't have to have it overhanging that much on that side. So all right, so here we go with our sentiment. One more thing is the ribbon. This is the Sweet Sorbet metallic ribbon. I'm just going to get a glue dot and just kind of ball it up here. Just put it, and that way. And now that it's stuck to my finger, there we go. Pop it right down. Make sure it's, because this is very thin, this ribbon. So I'm going to make sure that I have it, like I said, kind of balled up. And there we go. Tell you what I'm going to do also is trim the tails on my ribbon. You would think in this mess of stuff that I have on my desk, a pair of scissors would be here, a pair of the snips, but I cannot find them. Well, I did find my Picket tool, which is the next thing I'm going to do, and that is to pull in one of the things of the matte dots that have all of the new in colors, and I am just going to pop on one right there, and that's it. I don't want too many dots because then it'll kind of interfere with the background. So there is my first card. Kind of fun. Just a 4 by 5 1/4 on the inside. I probably could have done some of the blending. So, but there we go. All right. Card number 1 is done. Now, card number 2. I love it, and it is a labor of love. So here we go. What do I mean by that? Again, the card base is the Starry Sky. I am going, however, with the landscape mode this time, using a lot of the similar and the same dies that I used on that first card. One that's different is the the beam of light then that's coming out. That I just die cut from some Daffodil Delight paper, cardstock rather. I have Parakeet Party, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I have a piece of, let me move all of this off of here. I die cut out of the Starry Sky. Now this measures 5 1/4 by, no it does not, I apologize. It is 5 by 3 3/4. And what I will do, I already have one completed because it would take too long for me to do this technique with you, the whole thing. But I would come along and maybe trim this down even more, and I'll show you why here in a second, why I'm going to say that. So, all right, now, right now this is 5 by 3 3/4. I also have a piece of white cardstock, the same measurement, and I have a piece of the adhesive sheet, and that is the same stuff that I used on the die cuts, and it is slightly smaller than 5 by 3 3/4, and that is so I can get it on my cardstock without it the potential of it hanging over. So I am going to start in the corner. I am going to hold that down and lay it across like this. So now I have it pretty well the way it's going to go, and it should, the coverage should be pretty doggone good. So I like this because there's a couple pieces of it that you can take off. I try not to take the whole thing off. I don't like to expose all of the adhesive. I kind of like to do it in stages. So there, now that is covered. That is, I have it on the front of my cardstock. Not the back this time, but on the front. Because now, here comes the trick, and that is getting the release paper off of this one. Let me see if I can do that. And sometimes you just have to get in there and get that off of there. There we go. So now, here comes the release paper, and I have this very sticky piece of the basic white. What I'm going to do is adhere this down. Now, like I said, there is a point in which I will trim this down, and it's only because of I cannot talk and line up at the same time. There we go. These places here where it's only like half of a dot, I'm going to trim that down so that it will look like this one where it's all encased, so to speak. But in the meantime, let me show you what I'm going to do here. Now, I die cut out other colors, other in colors, using that spots and dots, and I saved the dots. Those innards I saved, and they're all in here. I don't want to put in any starry sky pieces. I just want to use the other pieces that I have. So I just have in here the Sweet Sorbet, the Parakeet Party, and the Tranquil Tide. So here we go. And yes, all you're gonna do, I just like using my picket tool, is I'm gonna pick one up, because remember, each one of these dots, they look white, but they have the adhesive coming through. So I am just going to pop in all of these dots. And there is no rhyme or reason to where I put them. I just randomly put them down. All right. So like I said, this is a labor of love. It is time consuming, but it's kind of fun too. So yeah, let me adhere these in here, a couple more. You get the gist. I will finish that up later. If you have glitter, you could put glitter down over this. The glitter would adhere to that sticky sheet that's that adhesive sheet that's coming through. Anything like that you could do. I wonder if embossing powder would work, and then putting your heat tool back over it. So yeah, don't know on that one, but here we go. So by the magic of television, let me get that off of there. Here is the finished one. Okay, I just want to get these dots out of here, otherwise I am going to have them everywhere. So let me get them back in the container real quick. Okay, there we go. That's as much a cleanup as I'm ever going to do. So I did trim this down a little bit. Like I said, I wanted to have all of those dots encased. I didn't want to have any of them sort of hanging out and over. So from here, so it might be a little bit smaller than the 5 by 3 3/4. So then, you know, I just cut my green, my Parakeet Party, then accordingly, to be sure then that it matted up somewhat evenly. Let's put it that way. So, all right, so here we go. Well, the rain has come. I took off my My hanging baskets, I have them out on the sidewalk so they can get watered then. So we shall see. All right, so there is my background. Let's go ahead now and before I get that down, just so I'm getting ahead of myself a lot here. So, okay. Similar idea as far as building the lighthouse. Let's go ahead and get it adhered. This time the base of it, or the solid, is all white. So I really don't need to do all of it because I am going to trim some of it off. So now let's do this. All right. So approximately from here. All right, so let me just go. I'm going to trim this off. All right, so let me do that real quick if I could. And let's see, how good did I do on that? That is pretty doggone crooked, isn't it? All right, see, that's why I should have waited, right? Okay, there we go. That's better. Now, from here, I'm going to go ahead and put down, I want a black hat, so to speak. The top of the lighthouse is going to be black. So let's pop out these windows. That little strip there, I already popped that one out. And the adhesive is really sticky, so. All right, so let's go ahead, put this down, give it that part. And just like I did with the first lighthouse, I have the same thing then cut out from the Daffodil Delight. I have the windows, as well as this little strip up at the top. So, and one more here. And now this little strip. So, it's fun building these lighthouses. We usually go to the Outer Banks in North Carolina every year for vacation. We haven't the past couple years, but so the beach and, like I said, the nautical theme is big for me. So, all right, I seem to have no railing. There it is. I found it. So let me pop these little pieces out and we'll put that on. Like I said, I just kind of eyeball it to be that the railings themselves are kind of in between the windows of the lighthouse. I have this beam of light then that I'm just going to pop on a glue dot, and we'll get that onto the back. All right, some dimensionals. Let's get those on, get this adhered down, and finish this up. Finishing it up, it is very similar to the first card. So we'll do the same sort of sentiment idea, and I'm gonna just put, because you know I love my dimensionals, if I can find one, I'm going to pop in a mini dimensional right here. And yes, I found a sheet of the black dimensionals on my desk, so there it is. No one will ever see or know, except you. So let's go ahead. I just didn't want to do too much covering up of this very cool background. So that's why I'm not doing that. I'm just putting everything kind of off to the side because I still want that background to shine. Let's get this down to the card base and then hang with me a little bit longer because I am going to share a real quick peek of the cards for my In Color Club. If you're interested in the tutorial for these cards that I'm going to show you here in a minute, let me know. It's for sale, $10. I can certainly get something, an invoice of sorts made for you. We can get that to you, and you can then make the cards as well. So, all right. So, again, I cut Sweet Sorbet, the white, stamped with the Starry Sky. Can you tell I use a lot of thank you cards? So that's why very often you'll see me either thank you or thinking of you cards. So, all right. So let me just ball this up because now I have a piece of the Starry Sky ribbon. And there we go. Here it is. I already make them up ahead of time because I don't want to spend your time watching me tie and untie these bows. So, all right, let me just trim the tails and just adhere one of the matte dots, and then we will be done with this card. So just very similar to the previous card, and there it is. Okay, inside, honestly, I just left it blank. It is just the white 4 by 5 1/4 because I like to write my own personal message there then. All right, so I am going to bring in the cards then that are for the In Color Club. I am going to, on my blog, I am going to post where you can let me know that you want the cards, or you can, or the tutorial rather, or you can leave me a message. Send me a message me on Facebook. Email is lindaloucreatescards@gmail.com, or any of the above. Let me know here that you're interested in them. So these are the 4 cards that is in the tutorial, and features again the lighthouse point, and Starry Sky is the main color then of this one. Now here, let me bring back now the cards that I made today for 2 more bonus ideas. Again, this time using also the same stamp set bundle and colors, but featuring the spots and dots that you can get for free with a qualifying purchase during celebration. So, hey, if you have any questions, let me know. I will be happy to answer them for you. If at all you are interested, like I said, in the tutorial, or learning anything about Stampin' Up, placing an order, any of the above, let me know. I'm here for you. So, well, hey, I am impressed that the electricity stayed on while that thunderstorm is happening out there. So stay safe, everyone, and I will see you next Sunday. All right, bye now.